right. Hello, everybody. Today is December 29th, episode 6 of Chambana Proud. This is Carly with the Champaign County EDC.
And this is Terri from Visit Champaign County.
And this week's episode is brought to you by Furniture Lounge, located in downtown Champaign. And if you need anything mid-century mod, you go to Furniture Lounge.
It's the spot.
All right, Terri. We're wrapping up from the holidays.
Oh my gosh, what a whirlwind.
Craziness. What did you do?
I bounced all over the place. So we have a lot of different family that we see both here locally in the Champaign County area and then up in the Chicago area. So it was nice to see everybody and catch up and, you know, do our gift exchanges. It's always fun to kind of see the thoughtful things that people give. I love giving presents because I really think a lot about what I give people. And so I feel like I kind of knocked it out of the park with some people this year. How about you?
A lot of the same. We traveled a little bit. As you know from a previous episode, we got some bingo in, so that was fun. But yeah, just a lot of really downtime. We try to do a lot of as many experiences as we can, a lot of board gaming between our families, and just really enjoy the downtime that we have together. But yeah, I'm like you. I really enjoy gift giving. I also enjoy wrapping.
You enjoy wrapping?
I love wrapping.
Okay.
I love wrapping presents. So that's always a fun thing for me because I try to tailor, you know, the details like the wrapping paper to the person and the decor of the wrapping paper to the person. And also it's very therapeutic to just sit down and have a wrapping session.
Yeah, I do like to watch something brainless while I'm wrapping presents, but I can see you as being the type of person that like puts sprigs of holly or something like that on your gifts.
I wish I went that far.
Okay.
I don't, but I do have a very specific method of wrapping. I always do some sort of bow or ribbon, a name tag, that whole thing. So anyway, it was a really wonderful few days of a few days of travel and family time, and just really grateful for all of that.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, me too. And now just a couple days off to spend at home, which is always really nice too. So
yes.
Enjoying some
to get
downtime.
to our actual personal to-do list.
Yes, which is a quite long to-do list.
Yes, very much so. So, all right. So getting back to our previous trivia question, it was Bonnie Blair is a Parkland College graduate and athlete who went on to win 5 Olympic gold medals in what sport? And Terri, what sport was it?
Well, that would be speed skating. So Bonnie Blair won a gold medal in 1988, 2 in 1992, and 2 in 1994. She also won a bronze medal in 1988. So it's pretty exciting to have an Olympian here in the community. We have multiple.
Yes, we have multiple Olympians here in the community.
But speed skating is one of those sports that kind of scares the heck out of me. I don't know if you've ever watched it, but we do have a speed skating competition that happens here every year because we have one of the best short tracks in the country here at the U of I Ice Arena.
Mm-hmm. No, I have not, but it would be really fun to go to, and I'll add it to my growing list of Terri's recommendations.
Always lots of things to check out, but kind of a cool fun fact about our area.
All right. Well, we are so excited to have today's guests with us, the mayors of Champaign and Urbana, Mayor Finan and Mayor Marlin. And just have a conversation with them about what's going on, why they love this community, and how they work together.
Yep, I am looking forward to this conversation. So we will be back in just a minute.
All right, and we're back and super excited for our guests today, the mayors of Champaign and Urbana. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Glad you guys are here. So we have Mayor Deb Finan from the city of Champaign and Mayor Diane Marlin from the city of Urbana. And we are, we get to work with you guys quite a bit. So we're really excited to have you here on the Chambana Proud podcast just to talk about a variety of different things happening in the community. But I think one of the things that we're interested in is to just, you guys tell us a little bit about yourselves, but also how you got into public service.
So do you want Champaign to start?
You go
Champaign first. Well, I got into public service because my mom was a public servant. So she served on the county board and then later was the circuit clerk. But an interesting little fact is that in November of this year, really December of this year, I hit 30 years of public service. I was sworn in as a county board member 30 years ago.
That's amazing.
Congratulations.
So I don't know if that's good or bad.
It's a lot.
It's a good milestone.
I started really young, but served as a county board member, served as a city council member, and now mayor.
Wow. Congratulations. What about you, Mayor Marlin? How did it start for you?
Well, I had a different path to public service, but we both ended up in the same place. I came to Urbana as a U of I freshman, and I knew I'd get an education here, but I didn't expect I'd find my life here. So I've lived here for 50 years. I was always a volunteer in the community, especially in the schools with environmental issues, neighborhood organizations, and that was my path, my connection to the city. I became more involved with issues in the city, ran for city council, served for 2 terms on the Urbana City Council, and now I'm in my 2nd term as mayor.
So you came here for school. You did not think you were going to stay after school.
Absolutely not. I was going to California.
That's great.
And my dad came here for law school, and we didn't.
And you guys didn't leave either.
I think that's just kind of what happens to people when they end up staying here. What made you want to stay?
Well, when I was an undergrad, I became involved in some local environmental issues, and those, of course, were outside of campus. And I think the key for me was I got off campus. I met people in the community. I discovered what a wonderful place the 2 cities were and the area surrounding it, and that's what caught me. This is just a great place to live.
Yeah. Agreed.
We like talking about that story all the time.
Yeah. Well, speaking of the sister cities, right, we're really fortunate in that both Champaign and Urbana kind of work together very well. So maybe you guys can talk about, we want to know kind of behind the scenes, how often you guys talk to each other? How do you make it so the 2 cities work together really well?
Well, the 2 cities work on a lot of different levels. We have intergovernmental agreements for certain basic services, like our emergency 911 dispatch center is supported by local governments. Some of the construction projects that are larger across the 2 cities and the campus, and those involve very close collaboration. Some of the large special events, like the Illinois Marathon Weekend, the race weekend, of course, involve close collaboration with public safety. And then just on a personal level, it's just nice to have someone to be able to call up and say, what?
Yeah, I was going to say, she covered the big areas where we work together as officially, but I would say the dish behind the scenes is that we're really lucky to have each other, and, someone who understands that job and the role and the pressures, we knew each other before this. There may be a not very well kept secret that my first job out of law school was working for Diane's husband as his attorney. So I've known her for a long time. I was his attorney assistant at the Pollution Control Board. But, particularly I would say during COVID and post-COVID, the need to be in constant communication and to make sure that we are working together and we have consistent messages across both cities has become more and more important. And I think we've gotten better and better at it.
Yeah, COVID was a game changer. That just raised the bar for everything, including communication among local governments and social service agencies and organizations like Visit Champaign County and the Champaign County Economic Development Corporation. So it was just, it was essential. And the fact that we had a relationship beforehand among all these entities and then we're able to strengthen that during the pandemic was the key to our successful navigation of this natural disaster.
Mm-hmm. And we'll let y'all in on a little secret. Carly's part of that as well. We're lucky to have her as part of that, be able to blow off some steam and just, be able to work together for the betterment of the community, but also not take yourself so seriously.
Yeah, that's important. Do you guys find that people, you guys talk to a lot of folks, organizations, statewide, national stuff, you attend conferences. Do you also find that people are surprised by how much you talk and work together? Because we hear that a lot.
I do.
Yeah. And half the time people call me Deb. So.
I get Diane. I mean, the two female mayors, both starting with the D, is really confusing for folks. So, yeah, I just answer because I know that what they really mean is mayor, and they haven't quite figured out which one I am.
I consider it a compliment.
Yes. Well, my favorite feedback when we're talking to people and they sort of start to figure it out, they're like, oh, you guys really do talk to each other. And I'm like, yeah, we all talk to each other daily. So not much gets past us.
I think that's true. And I think that that's important, right? I mean, we're a small enough community that being able to have eyes and ears everywhere and being able to help each other is important. But, you know, I'm part of Illinois Municipal League and U.S. Conference of Mayors, and we are incredibly unique. It's not just the relationships that we have across the cities, but the fact that the university is part of that relationship and that, we are all engaging together and checking in with each other before we do some big thing so that we can work together, that you just don't see that anywhere else in the country.
And frankly, things wouldn't work if you couldn't do that. It really makes your life much harder.
Yeah. No, I think we're definitely very fortunate for that. It's definitely one of the highlights of our communities. And, I'm kind of curious is when you are talking about your communities to people externally, what is it that you're saying? Like, why are you telling people to be here? Why should they live in Urbana? Why should they live in Champaign?
Well, first of all, I say there is a separate city. We are two separate cities, and we are distinctly different in size. But, people, I've chosen Urbana to be my home because number one, I think it's a wonderful place to live. We have wonderful parks. I like the small town feel. The emphasis on public arts and culture and live music. We're known for our regional farmers market. And I think, but what really hit home to me was one time a woman came up to me in some meeting or something, and she said, I lived in another city for about 10 years, but when I moved to Urbana, I finally felt like it was home. And that's what I want people to feel, and that's what I feel, and that's what keeps people in Urbana, is that it's home.
Yeah.
And I think, it sounds cliche to say, small town feel, big town life kind of thing. But the reality is with the University of Illinois, you really do get the best of both worlds. You get, over 140 different cultures and people represented from countries from over 140, maybe even more now. You have the Kreinert Center. You have the opportunity for sports and recreation. But if you live in either of the cities, really, you could spend your whole day and not be on campus, right? And so you get the benefit of all of that activity, but you also get the ability to just go about your life and live your life. I think that, we have a community where you can be at your kid's school in 10 minutes, but you can still be doing, research that will, impact the nation or the world. And those kinds of things really make a difference to people, I think. And, we strive very hard in the city of Champaign to have a welcoming climate, not only for the people who live there, but also for the businesses, and try to really encourage that people and businesses come forward and, they ask our city staff for what they need. And I think we really have we can get it done kind of attitude, and we work really hard to make things happen.
Absolutely. And one of my favorite things, too, is oftentimes people don't even realize where they're technically at from the boundary, like the boundary perspective, right? Yep. Like you don't notice it because you just love the fact that you can, be on different parts of campus and technically be one in community or the other. And then it takes you 10 minutes to get home or to the other side. And I'm putting these in quotation marks because it's like, yes, the other side, it's still a 14 average commute time. So it doesn't really take you that long. But yeah, it's just always fun to hear like the different stories about what side of Wright Street, because that's technically the dividing line.
It really is the question that we get all the time at Visit Champaign County. Am I in Champaign right now or am I in Urbana? And it's fascinating to me how people are really wanting to know that dividing line when it really doesn't seem to matter as somebody who lives here.
No, first you have to say, well, here's where Wright Street is, because many people don't know, and it's in the heart of campus. But we're anchored, the campus sits in the heart of between both communities, and that's the connection, I think, between the two in many ways.
Yeah.
Well, we're very close to the year end. We're just a few days out from the new year. What are you guys looking forward to in your communities in 2023? Any particular projects or new business openings or just things that are happening that you're really excited about?
Well, we have a number of long-term efforts underway, and they're very important to the future of our community. One of them is we're rewriting our comprehensive plan, which, isn't one of those things that'll make the national news, but it's very, very important for the basis for how we're going to grow, what we see as the future of our community. So that's a long-term effort that's underway. And another project that was very important to our city council was a public safety review. So we just signed a contract with a firm that will do a very deep dive into all of our police calls for service and our fire calls for service. What are people needing? How can we best respond to the needs of the community? And that's another 18-month project. So that, I think, will lead to some significant changes and very thoughtful tweaks to the way we respond to calls for service. And then on the other hand, we have actually a significant amount of people building homes in Urbana. We are looking forward to the reopening of a very historic hotel in our downtown. We're planning a public realm study in our downtown area to see what people want, and then we'll implement those. So we've got the pandemic kind of slowed things down for a while, but we're back at it and open for business.
And was the number one question you got this year about Hotel Royer?
Yes.
I assumed.
I can't wait till I can say, yes, it's open. Book a room and come eat great food.
Yes.
What's been so great about that is you can see the work being done externally. So you do get that sense that it is moving forward and there's something really exciting to look forward to. I know we're really looking forward to it.
Yeah. I mean, it's just a unique 100-year-old structure that just people have so many memories associated with this, which just always strikes. That's what gets to me is the memories that people have associated with that building. And when we interviewed all the developers, and there were probably a dozen that came through my office at one point or another, it was like, this has to be a place where people make new memories, and I think it will be.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's very exciting. And there's a sign on the building.
Yeah.
So you can visually see that, too.
Yeah, it is. It's looking really good.
No longer the Heartbreak Hotel.
What about you, Mayor?
Well, I was just thinking of my memories associated with the hotel. I mean, my wedding party stayed there. So,
that's awesome.
The city of Champaign, I have to put a plug in for one of our newest businesses, although you ask about next year. But oh my gosh, ice cream and cereal in downtown Champaign. So, that's been really fun. And having ice cream in downtown Champaign is something we desperately
long
need.
overdue, yes.
Absolutely. But, we are beginning to kind of look at our what I would say aging infrastructure. It's interesting because it still feels like downtown renovation was like a new exciting thing, but when you look at it, it was probably about 25 years ago. Mm-hmm. And so we're starting to kind of look at, what do we need to do to refresh some of those spaces, especially post-pandemic, to try to start getting some of that, regain some of that energy that we had pre-pandemic. And so we'll begin to kind of look at that and look at funding for that. We are are really in the middle of ARPA-funded projects. So, I'm very excited about our Garden Hills drainage and infrastructure project that will be game-changing for that neighborhood. It will include drainage-related improvements, but also some park space related to that and sidewalks and lighting, and that's going to be transformative. And, we have a lot of what we've called our violence reduction blueprint, but a lot of anti-poverty and anti-violence programs that we are kind of partway through funding. And those will continue. We still have some that we still need to do requests for proposals on. And our homeless shelter Strides, which is, a joint project with the city of Champaign and with the township, is actually ready to open its doors, and that will be a no barrier shelter, which is going to be the first of its kind in this area. And so I think that, as we go into the new year, I think the fact that the city of Champaign is really investing in its citizens, as well as kind of the hardscape kinds of things, is really important. And I think over time, that's going to make huge dividends in the kind of community that we are, and the will make a difference for the kids and families that are here.
Mm-hmm. I think there were a lot of things in motion pre-pandemic. A lot went on pause, or unfortunately, some just went away altogether. But we besides all the things that we were doing during the pandemic, we were still working on the future too. I mean, making sure that things were going to be rolling as we moved through it. And so it's really cool to see that all of these things are finally starting to get pieced together and actually get launched. And you can, like Terri said, you can really see some of those visual changes and some of the small incremental changes that are really going to start to swing and make a big difference. And some of the, particularly in the downtown areas too.
And it's interesting. This is incredibly nerdy. The three of you will like it. Maybe the people listening. It's crazy. But, we also are making some adjustments to our TIF districts. But, that makes a big difference for business redevelopment and investment as well. And so, moving forward, the boundaries are changing. One of our old TIFs it went away yesterday, I think, or maybe 2 days ago. And so that will change areas that redevelopment focuses as well.
Yeah, we just ran into Erin from Page Roasting Company, and she was just so excited to finally get a patio there at Flying Machine. And so that's going to make a big difference for that business with that TIF district there, and being able to welcome people into that space and then go right into the Boneyard Basin. And I think it's really going to revitalize that area and attract a lot more people just by simply adding an outdoor patio.
Absolutely. I mean, that's what created downtown, right, was outdoor patios. And we have the Midtown space that is, coming soon, right, with a bar and restaurant, and, they're going to take over that alley kind of in that area. So you'll be able to walk from downtown through Midtown to Campus Town and really enjoy things the whole way.
Well, coincidentally, there's a vote coming up in Urbana on porting money from one TIF to another. So TIF districts do make a difference. And we're also investing tackling our backlog of infrastructure needs. One of the first things we did was analyze the condition of every mile of pavement in the city. We did our facilities programming space needs assessment, and we've begun to implement that. I forgot to mention we will be building 2 new fire stations in the city of Urbana, and we have just a new project to reconfigure the city building lobby to make it better serve people who come into the building is about to get underway right now. We've also assessed all of our stormwater infrastructure, and a new street lighting study is underway as well. So we will have all the data which will inform our capital improvement plans going forward, which is the first time that's ever been done. So we've got real hard data to work with.
It's very exciting.
Infrastructure.
Yes.
Well,
it's
and
important.
I want to give Mayor Marlin a compliment because I think that over the course of her administration, they've done a couple of things really well that have made such a big difference and will make a big difference long term for Urbana. One was, adjusting your budget. You made some really hard decisions in that first term that were not popular, but that got you in a position even post-pandemic to be able to do the things that you're doing now. But also that you are coming at it from a data perspective and you're not just sort of following the next bright, shiny object or the person who's standing at the council meeting, asking for help. It's so tempting to do that. And you are really setting up your city for the future with, the information they need to make great decisions. And that's not easy to do. And we're different types of government, right? So it's really you doing that.
It's not me doing it. I have an astonishing team doing it. But yeah, that's one of the reasons I ran for mayor is I just felt we had to make some hard decisions and changes. So we erased the structural deficit. We rebuilt our city reserves. We restored pension funding, and that's what got us on a sound financial footing. And we were all set to just break out, and then 2020 happened, and here we are. So still standing.
And speaking of hiring and speaking of your teams, you are hiring.
Absolutely. We have a 20% vacancy rate now in our city, and that's probably the biggest thing that's slowing us down. And so we're working very hard to fill those vacancies, and actually we've restructured our HR department to address that going forward because these are different times now.
Mm-hmm. Well, you guys certainly have great teams. Terri and I get to work with a variety of departments at both cities, and it's always a really fantastic experience, and we're grateful for those relationships because we all like to do fun, big things, and we can all move really quickly.
Well, and we couldn't do our jobs without that relationships that we've developed with both of the cities. And so it's really important to us to be able to have that person to lean on to give us, kind of the update of what's going on within the city so that we make sure that we're on top of it so that we can promote it. We can share that information with other people. We can work on talking to businesses. We can help with talent attraction. So many different ways that we collaborate just to continue to make this place a better place to live.
And not only do the mayors communicate, but our city staffs do as well. Our first responders work very closely together. I know our planning department and a number of other departments, public works. It's top down. People have to work together, and they do.
But I do think that is a recent change. I mean, our administrations. I think we set that tone and that it carries through the organization. And I would say before Mayor Marlin was there, that was not always the way that things happened. It isn't just because we're geographically located next to each other, but it is an intentional way of dealing with our fellow city. And, an attitude that a rising tide lifts all boats. And, we are only as strong as Urbana is. We need them to be doing well and succeeding as well.
And likewise. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I can't imagine it any other way.
Yeah.
I really can't.
And I think that tide has shifted amongst a lot of different types. I mean, certainly ours. I mean, there was a time when EDOs and the tourism agencies were fighting over things. And so now I just can't imagine it any other way. And it's silly not to be. It doesn't make sense that we wouldn't work together. We have so many things that are happening, and it's because of those relationships and that commitment to not making it a competitive environment, right? Plus, you talk to all of our community members. They live in Champaign, but they work in Urbana. I mean, it's
well, and people move back and forth across Wright Street. It's a fluid community.
Yes.
It's a transient community, and we're small. Big ideas, big impact on the world, but relatively small in population. So we need to leverage our strengths.
Yeah, absolutely. And speaking of community names,
yes. And Wright Street.
And competitiveness.
Yes. Let's talk about...
Because we are competitive, but we do like to have fun.
Yes. So let's talk about the T-shirts for a minute. So for those that don't know, we have a little T-shirt competition going on now. we have 2 T-shirts that are out there, and Mayor Marlin is proudly wearing her Team Urbana Champaign T-shirt. And so we developed a Team Champaign-Urbana and a Team Urbana Champaign because, as I mentioned earlier, this is a very popular question that we get. Which is it? How do you say it correctly? And there really is no correct answer to that question, but we thought we might let people try to let us know their feelings through T-shirt sales, which is benefiting the Champaign County History Museum. Mm-hmm. You have a couple days left to buy those T-shirts. And I got to say, when we headed into this, Mayor Marlin, we were taking pictures to promote it. And you said, we really need a handicap in Urbana. And I said, I don't think you do. And I think the numbers speak for themselves. You guys are pretty far ahead of Champaign in terms of T-shirt sales. I mean, at least 20 T-shirts ahead.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Well, when you give us a challenge, we rise to it. In fact, the reason I'm wearing my shirt is I'm going to a photo op after this.
Excellent.
Nice. We're going to put one last push on this.
Yeah.
Well, it has been fun to see the community's reaction to it, and also just where it got picked up. I mean, Terri was on the radio a lot in Chicago when we first announced the campaign, so it was making the waves across that, and just kind of who's been into it. We got a lot of requests for T-shirt or kid sizes, so those were added to the store. So yes, you do technically have a couple days left in the official competition where you can buy at chambanaproud.com. But we're going to continue with the T-shirts themselves. But this main competition and then the fundraiser for the Champaign County History Museum, we'll be excited to make that announcement in the coming weeks.
Yes.
And we'll be posting some fun photos and something along those lines on social media.
Yeah. Well, you haven't said what the prize is.
Well, you'll find out when Urbana wins.
Oh, that's not fair.
How many do I need to buy?
I'll have to pull the numbers for you. What I will say is that every single day, I have seen a post from the City of Urbana's Facebook page of somebody wearing the T-shirt every single day of this competition. So
Shout
you
out,
guys,
Bridget.
Yes, definitely.
Shout out,
It's
Bridget.
Bridget's enthusiasm, which is boundless. You guys have really stepped up in terms of getting your community pride out there. So
It would be really funny if it ended in a tie.
I bet we could make that happen.
Deb, write a check for 20 T-shirts.
How many T-shirts do I need to buy?
Yeah. But this has been a lot of fun. And so I know when we kind of conceived it, we were a little worried about the competition part of it, but you guys have been very gracious and going along with us in our kind of crazy ideas.
Yeah. Plus, it just helps tell the story, right? And also showcase the fact of our spirit of collaboration and that we just like to have a lot of fun with it. And I'm just going to tease this because we'll eventually say more. But because of all of this and the questions we get asked, we are specifically Terri is going to have a fun project coming up about the whole Wright Street question.
Oh, yes.
Yes.
I didn't know where you were going with this for a minute. I'm like, what is she talking about? Yes. I think we should save that announcement for later
but
once
I'm
we
just
have an actual
teasing
timeline. Yeah. But as I kind of mentioned, it's a popular question for us. We did a really fun TikTok a little over a year ago where we kind of did the separation between Champaign-Urbana. That went viral. We have 250,000 views on that TikTok. So we're going to continue this discussion to showcase people the dividing line. So stay tuned.
Well, this has been a great opportunity to also showcase the Champaign County History Museum,
Yes.
which I actually was able to visit a couple of months ago for the first time in a long time. And it's just an impressive museum. And also the T-shirt contest gives me the opportunity to let people know that Champaign originally was named West Urbana.
Yes, and if you haven't already and you're very intrigued by this whole history, the Champaign County History Museum found an article from 1906 or 1907, I can't remember the year right now, that really sort of tells the story and the community members at the time and sort of their views on what side of town they lived on and what it should officially be. So go to the Champaign County History Museum and check out, go to their website and check out that article. But yes, go visit them in person. We're we're so fortunate to have them in our community, and they just do the highest level of quality exhibits, and it's really fantastic. And now will be a good time to go if you're, in the middle of your holiday break, and go check them out and see them. So
definitely. Well, we've asked you the main questions we wanted to ask, but we do have 3 questions that we like to ask every guest. And so these are typically hard for all of our guests, but I imagine they're going to be extra hard for you guys. So we're going to ask them, and then I'm very curious to see what you answer. So I'll start with Mayor Marlin. Do we want to do all 3 at once with one, and then, or do we want to bounce back and forth? Okay, we're going to bounce back and forth. So Mayor Marlin, what is it that you love about living here?
It's home.
Short and sweet. I love it. Mayor Finan.
I would say it really is the small town feel with the big town life, and the ability to, walk in the woods on a Saturday, but be at a U of I football game that same day.
Yeah. All right.
This is usually the hardest question. We'll start with you, Mayor Marlin. What's your favorite restaurant?
Oh, this is politically difficult.
Yeah, I'm not answering that.
Okay, give us a few of your favorite restaurants.
I love Baldoradas. I love La Mixteca. I love Silver Creek. I love the Courier, and I love a few in Champaign as well. I mean, we're the thing about the restaurant question is, if you want a cuisine from dozens of countries around the world, you'll find it in Champaign-Urbana. So it depends on what day. Each day, my favorite restaurant is different in each day.
So for really until the pandemic, my family ate at Fiesta every Friday night. They were so accommodating when my kids were little, and we met the same group of friends, and there's a whole back room of regulars that meet at the same time on Friday nights. So I have to give them a shout out. I'm a big Nando fan. I just love their food, although you can't eat that every day. And, I think that, like Mayor Marlin, it's the fact that you can get such a wide variety of different kinds of foods, and that's been really nice. I mean, whether it's Hickory River, that's the new one out at the Carl Fields. Thank you, as opposed to Urbana. And, you get a wide variety, and you can make anybody happy with your group.
You definitely, everyone always struggles with that question. They're just like, well, what mood am I in? It depends on my mood. They also have more so favorite dishes at certain places, like their go-to order items and stuff like that. And then it's like, am I going there or am I getting takeout? So, but I think it all drives the point home of, oh my gosh, we have so many opportunities to eat here in this town with so many wonderful options. And that's why we all love sitting down once Terri announces restaurant week and making our plans for the entire week of where we're going to go on what night based on the schedule.
Yes. I mean, I have to admit that the veggie burger at Esquire is like one of my favorite foods, right? I'm vegetarian, so that, but I get salad from Farron's almost, every council night. So
and the veggie burger at Bunny's is very good.
Yeah.
In fact,
they have a mayor salad.
Yeah, it was named after Deb.
Oh, yeah? There's a mayor salad? I didn't know that.
It's a veggie version of their salad.
Wow,
so I always requested it, and so Ben just started calling it the mayor salad.
I had a student recently in a class that I spoke to. I usually like to ask them some community questions, and I asked them what their favorite restaurant was, and one of the students said Bunny's, and it just really shocked me. Like, I did not know students went to Bunny's, but apparently they do.
They're more and more, especially during the pandemic, because they expanded their space, and they're one of the oldest ongoing restaurants. They started in the 1930s, and that's a huge accomplishment for any kind of restaurant or bar.
Yeah, just kind of blew my mind when she said that. So, anyway.
Blackened salmon salad at Bunny's is terrific too. So,
yeah. Okay. All right. Last question. So we usually say, what do you like to do on the weekends? But I think for both of you, it's more like your free time when you're not
Because you do a lot of things on the weekends related to your roles as mayors.
Yes.
I don't have much free time.
What do you do to enjoy just something for yourself?
I usually try to get out of the city, walk in I like Allerton Park. I like going even to walk in Meadowbrook Park. It's just nice to get out in the fresh air and sunshine and quiet. And a lot of the time I just like to be alone once in a while.
Yep.
Or the other thing is spend time with my grandchildren and family. They keep me sane.
Yeah. Important.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that I try to find time for that I'm not always very successful anymore at is that I really love photography. And so, some of that is out and about, like Mayor Marlin was describing, but trying to just find some time to go shoot is important. And I haven't done it very successfully since I've been mayor, but it's something that I love to do.
So that means when you're traveling, you probably are stopping to actually take photos and everything like that, right? Hopefully.
When I'm traveling. So like this summer, my family was in Yosemite and I had my big camera and big lenses, and that was really fun.
That's cool.
Excellent. Well, I think that wraps up our questions for you guys. Yeah.
Thank you for joining us and for being great partners and always going along with our crazy ideas. You always say yes. You're like, sure.
Well, there was a lot of discussion behind the scenes before we said yes to the T-shirt.
We just said yes, but they're killing it.
I know, they are.
We're like, we don't want to lose.
Yep. You are not losing. So, you guys.
As of the time of the airing of this podcast.
That's true. Yes.
You still have a few days. So if you're interested, ChambanaProud.com.
Yes.
And they can ship.
We can ship anywhere you want it shipped. So
I actually had one shipped across town the other day because I was too lazy to get it.
That's amazing.
Yep. So yes, thank you so much for being here and everything that you do. We appreciate you guys every single day.
Likewise, we couldn't do it without you.
Yeah, you guys are amazing.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Today's episode is brought to you by Furniture Lounge, which is one of my absolute favorite stores in Champaign-Urbana. They specialize in mid-century modern, and they've been around since 2002. So they are located in downtown Champaign at 11 East University Avenue, and their store is filled with everything from furniture to artwork to vintage clothes and records. And one of my favorite things about the place, besides the fact that I have a lot of their items now in my house, is that it's a great store to buy one-of-a-kind gifts for the people that you need to buy gifts for.
Yeah, you see a lot of people coming in and out of there with just the most great treasures that they're going to be bringing to their home. I remember one time we had one of our fellow colleagues from the Rockford area who was shopping down there. And I think he came back several times to pick up additional things because he was so impressed with the inventory that they have there. So they do such a great job. They're really curators is what they are.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so you can go to the store, obviously, and you should go buy as many things as you can. But they always do a great job, too, of posting to their social media accounts about the availability of maybe some specialty items. So if you aren't already, follow Furniture Lounge on Instagram, on Facebook. It's at Furniture Lounge for both platforms. You can always keep an eye out for some really fun things, but also try to scoop something up if they're posting it for sale on Facebook or Instagram. So again, a true Champaign-Urbana gem, and go visit them at 11 East University Avenue or give them a call at 217-418-5388. Thank you, Furniture Lounge.
Thank you, Furniture Lounge.
All right, Terri, I love the New Year. I love the celebrations around it. Totally selfish reason. I also got married on New Year's Eve, so I'll be celebrating an anniversary coming up. But one of the things I love about New Year's Eve, just in general, and this is anywhere, is that it really centers a lot around live music. So we are very lucky in that we have live music 365 days a year here in Champaign-Urbana. Across many venues. And that's really going to be the focus of this particular events part of our episode because there's so much live music coming up.
Yep, a little bit of everything, no matter what your taste in music in. So one of the ones I want to kick off with is 90s Daughter at the City Center. Of course, they are a big popular favorite here in Champaign-Urbana. They'll have special guests all-nighter opening for them, and they're going to do some various packages within the city center. So if you want something a little more elevated, then you can check out what they have available. But you do have to get tickets in advance. So go to the city center's website to get those. Shows start at 8 p.m. and, of course, go past midnight so that you can ring in the new year. And then on the other side of town at the Rose Bowl Tavern, Chicago Farmer and the Field Notes will actually be playing both Friday and Saturday. On Friday, they'll be joined by the Bashful Youngins. Their show will start at 8 p.m. And on New Year's Eve, they'll be joined by the Clayton Burke Band. That show starts at 9, and tickets are available in advance for both. Or you can get a 2-day pass and spend both of your nights there at Rose Bowl Tavern.
Nice. I love the Rose Bowl.
Everybody does.
All right. Also, Seven Saints in downtown Champaign is hosting a speakeasy with Leon Lewis Nicole's Jazz Combo. They're going to have fun cocktails, prime rib, veggie lasagna, and other specials. So if you are interested in that, they are taking reservations. Book now, book early, book as early as you can. And of course, the famous Candy Foster, the local legend, will be playing at Boomerangs at 8 p.m. And while you're there, you can get the Boomerangs fish sandwich that Matt Riggs bragged about on a previous episode.
Yeah, so I definitely need to put that on my list to go try.
Yes, absolutely. So, Terri, here's what I want to know.
Oh, gosh, what?
Are you actually going to make it to midnight?
That's a really good question, Carly.
Can you give me a lot of tasks. So I'm giving you a task. I'm challenging you to stay up past midnight for this new year.
Well, we're going skiing. So heading up to...
You're already making excuses.
Well, I might be tired. It's going to take a lot out of me. Maybe I'll sleep in the car on the way up there.
Yeah.
But so it's going to be entertaining because I went skiing last year on New Year's Eve too for the first time in 20 years. And remarkably, I did not fall.
Which
at least not while skiing. Not while skiing.
Yeah, I say for you is incredible. Terri is very clumsy.
I fell when not skiing, which is also typical. But doing that again this year. So I will try real hard to make it to midnight.
Why don't you text me?
You? Okay. What are you going to be doing?
We haven't figured it out yet, but we'll be
cutting it close.
Yeah, we'll be doing some sort of dinner and whatever, but we will definitely be staying up to midnight.
Okay. I stay up to midnight all the time.
That's true. It's not abnormal, but yeah.
Okay.
So,
all right. Well, whatever you do, I hope you ring in the new year, and happy anniversary to you and Tate.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And happy new year to all of our listeners.
Yes.
It's been a fun 2022 as we've gotten this podcast kicked off the ground.
Yeah. And I'm really excited for all the people we're going to be having on in 2023. We've got a great lineup of guests.
Yes. And keep the suggestions coming. We've gotten some good feedback and some ideas. So keep sending in our way, which you can do at champagneproud.com.
Yep.
All right. Another Champaign-Urbana fun fact, Terri, for they can think about it and ponder for the answer next time. The question is what?
In what year was Champaign County founded?
All right. Champaign County's founding. The answers are 1799, 1881, or 1833. We'll tell you the answer next time.
Okay.
And who do we have joining us for the next pod?
Yeah, I'm really excited about this conversation. This is going to be with Erez Cohen from Illini Hillel. They are celebrating a very special anniversary and a big impact that they've made, not just here locally, but across the country. So this is going to be a really fantastic conversation. Looking forward to it in the new year.
All right. Thanks, Terri. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. We'd like to thank Perennial Sound Studio for providing us with the music throughout our podcast.